First of all, what I love about the backfield is you have to love the depth. You have to. So going into this season, I don't know if they thought Lamichael James will be there. Maybe they did. But what made the draft of Lamichael James possible was the fact that there was no glaring holes that they had to address. Same with Jenkins in the first round. So they were looking at it like, hey, we picking at the end of the first round, the end of the second round. We don't need nobody really. I mean, the people we need are receivers. They knew they needed receivers, but they had already picked up Moss. They had already picked up Manningham.
Right.
They addressed everything so much in free agency, it was a luxury. So now you stack Lamichael James on top of Kendall Hunter. If you saw Kendall Hunter last year, he was backing up Frank Gore. He brought a lot of that same stuff to Lamichael James that Lamichael James brings. Really quick. Everybody think Lamichael James might be a hair quicker, a hair faster because he's quicker and faster than almost everybody on earth.
Dang.
But if you saw Kendall Hunter, he same type of back, about 5'8", in that 200-pound range, a little under that, 195, 200. Small, but proved he can run inside too. Super quick, fast, run away from people. And he has a year of experience. He has a year in the offense ahead of Lamichael James. So I expect that to make a difference. You can't just push him out the way. So what I think will happen is, originally it was they brought Brandon Jacobs in to push Anthony Dixon. Anthony Dixon has been decent, but they feel like he tiptoes too much. They think it's a big back. And it may not be his fault. He's one of those big dudes with good feet.
Right.
He's one of those dudes who he's not just a sledgehammer. He actually has moves. So, but they looking at it like, hey, we got people for that. You need to just get this yard. Put your head down.
Right.
So if he can hold off Brandon Jacobs, which doesn't look good, but maybe he has a surprise, he may make the team. But you figure between Jacobs and Dixon, okay, you have a power back. Frank Gore is the horse. Then you had these other two who can wreak havoc. The thing that I like the most about the backfield is not one of the people who's standing back there. It's the offensive coordinator, Greg Roman. People don't give him enough credit. People always talk about the Jim Harbaugh offense. People will let you know Greg Roman is his offense. Harbaugh, he's the man. He's this, he's that. Everybody sees his presence, but he's humble. He doesn't mind sharing the, he don't call the plays. He got the headphones on. He'll chime in if it's something he want to call, but it's a team effort. He lets his OC do his job. And that's where a lot of those 3 tight end sets come in, where you see that using tackles as offensive linemen. We saw Joe Staley catch a pass. We saw defensive end Sopoaga catch a pass last year, defensive tackle, All this creativity, because the 49ers were lacking in other areas, had wide receivers hurt. Right. I don't think people really appreciated how creative this dude is on offense. He will do anything, and he will get you with it. Like, that's the only reason they survived last year, is the dude is super creative. So I just can't wait to see what he does with those pieces. With having a Kendall Hunter, a Lamichael James, because from the outside looking in, we looking at it like, how are you going to play both of them? Like in a traditional system, you would have Frank Gore as a starter.
Wow. You
would have one of those two as the change of pace quick dude, and then you would have Jacobs or Dixon as the power back. Wow. But with those two, he's not going to leave one of them off of the 46-man roster not suiting up. Both of them going to suit up. He going to find a way to use them. Right. So I'm just excited to see how he going to do it because they similar. They both quick. They both fast. If it was me, I'd like to see Frank Gore get his lion's share of the carries. But when you mix those two in as the change of pace, kind of like the Saints, how they would shuttle in 3 different dudes.
Right.
And then you don't really need – it's not like Frank Gore is a bad short yardage back. He gets it in short yardage. Right. They just try to think of ways to give him a rest. So I'm like, give him a rest more in between the 20s. If you're going to give him a rest then bring him back in. You don't really need an extra short yardage back with those other two dudes. Like, Jacobs is cool. He done slimmed down. They say he done went from 275 to 260 in the last month or something, whatever. That's cool. If he can bring anything, it's gravy. But what I like is you have a crazy assortment of characters that's just like, it's too deep. So if you do have an injury, let's face it, this is the NFL. And I can confidently say in that backfield, if anybody goes down, except maybe Frank Gore, I don't even want to speak on it.
Don't do it.
Not Frank.
Don't do it.
But if Kendall Hunter, if something did happen to Michael James, it's not going to matter. Those two dudes, they feel a similar role. And they both explosive, man. We got two dudes who, like in the mold of Darren Sproles, who can take it there. on any given play. But Lamichael James he got even a little extra gear, man. I just can't wait to see it.